Hi guys, my name is Ashley Kulikowski, and for those who are watching, probably already know that I'm the founder of Fearless Movement, a nonprofit organization where our mission is to create a fearless community, regardless of your circumstances, but to also find a cure for those battling epilepsy. So the reason for my vlog today is to kick off our Share Your Story campaign. This has been something that has been on my heart for years now, since I started Fearless Movement about 3 to 4 years ago. And that was just sharing my story, sharing my testimony to all of you about how I overcame fear, how fear defined me, and what fear did to me, allowing that fear to play into my life. So the reason why I am doing this vlog today is to kick off a social wall. And that is where I want you to write out your story, share your story with all of Fearless Movement's members, all of Fearless Movement's followers. To be a member of Fearless Movement, you don't have to sign up. It sounds funny coming out of my mouth, but being a member for Fearless Movement is basically just announcing your fear and making the choice to overcome it. And the 3 steps to overcome your fears are to 1, acknowledge that fear. So through the Share Your Story campaign, I am acknowledging the fear of having a seizure at any point in time, because I do have epilepsy, and that's the reason why I created Fearless Movement. And then the second step into overcoming your fears is to then confide in a trusted friend to help remind you every time you face that fear that it is not worth it, that you're missing out on great opportunities and you're destined for greatness. And then 3, finally, is overcome. We all know that if someone is constantly nagging you about something, like if it's your mom to do the dishes, or if it's a coworker to ask you to keep doing something for them, or just anything, you want to just do it so that you don't have to hear their voice anymore. So that is a huge reason why that is number 2, to finally help us 3 overcome, because you don't want to live in that fear anymore when you're constantly reminded of what you're missing out on. So I'm just going to share my story really quickly with you to just kick off the Share Your Story campaign. I'm so excited to share this with you. Now, when I was diagnosed with epilepsy, I was 13 years old, and I feared for my entire life. I feared that I would miss out on great opportunities, that I wouldn't be able to go out and have sleepovers with my friends, because every 13-year-old wants to just go out for a night and hang out with her girlfriends, or go to amusement parks and have no stimulations cause a seizure. Or I was afraid that I would have a seizure in public and be embarrassed. And that was a huge fear of mine, being embarrassed. Every time I had a seizure, I woke up and I started freaking out. I thought all of my fears came into play, and that's a huge reason why Fearless Movement is what it is today. Because when I had those fears, it would be, my first fear was dying. I thought I was dying. I would yell, "Am I dying? I'm dying." I had this horrific pain all over my body. The second fear was, what am I missing out on? For instance, I was supposed to go on a mission trip to Jamaica, and I could not go because about a couple months beforehand I had a seizure. And I've never flown on a plane before, and my parents just weren't comfortable with sending me on a plane to another country that we were going to be doing mission work at. So, and also heat that's another trigger for some people that have epilepsy or have seizures, and just being dehydrated. Being dehydrated is one of my triggers. So they didn't know if they could trust that I would be hydrated. So that was the second fear that came into play. What am I missing out on? Am I still able to go to Jamaica? I really want to go on this mission trip. And I was always in tears and always in horrible fear whenever I woke up. And I allowed that fear to define me. For years, the fear of missing out on something, or being embarrassed because I had epilepsy, being bullied because I had epilepsy, it horrified me. and it isolated me from anything that was fun, anything that I could do. I didn't want to because of those fears. So I grew into a deep depression, and I ended up in the hospital because of the medication I was taking. It had side effects of depression and suicidal thoughts. And I went to a point, I'm sorry, it's taking me a bit to share this. I was at a point in my life where I thought, I don't want to live in this fear, but I saw no hope for my future. I ended up in the hospital that night, and the doctor just came in and obviously had to ask me tons of questions without my parents in the room, and that's when I broke down to the doctor. I said, I want to live my life, but I don't want to live it in fear. And that is what epilepsy has caused on me, but I don't know how to overcome this, but I do want to live my life. And that's when it hit me. God did not give me a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and sound mind. And I needed those three qualities to overcome it. That doctor did not share that verse with me, but God did in that moment of fear and desperation for hope for my future. And that's when I knew this is how I can overcome my fear. By meditating on that verse, by using my sound mind to look at all of everything around me and take in what I can do and not what I can't do. To write out a pro and con list of how my fears are adding to my life and how they're taking away. And if you do that, you see that your fears are only taking away from your life. Your fears are not adding anything to it. So from that moment on, I meditated on that verse and I wrote out my pros and con list. If you know me, everyone knows that I'm very adamant about doing something, that I need to have a set plan in order to do something. So the pro and con list definitely helped overcoming my fear. But not just that moment alone. 2 Timothy 1:7, for God did not give me a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and sound mind. And from that moment on, I gradually overcame my depression and I overcame my fear. And instead of allowing my fear to define me, I defined it. So that is exactly what the Share Your Story campaign is all about, defining our fears, not allowing our fears to define us or our circumstances to define us. So whether you have epilepsy, cancer, diabetes, depression, anxiety, any circumstance that is really weighing down on your heart and on you mentally and physically, speak up, share your story. Whether it's through a vlog that I'm making right now or a post under Fearless Movement's Facebook at Fearless Movement FM or our Instagram at Fearless Movement or our website, fearlessmovement.org. We would love to share your story to not only show you, but the rest of our world and those who are following us. We have over people in 13 countries have visited fearlessmovement.org, over 13 countries, and over 13,000 views. So your story matters, and just to show those people that they're not alone, and you're not alone in what we face, and that is what gave me hope. That's what the doctor shared with me, that I wasn't alone, that I needed to overcome this fear. And he asked me what I would do next. But God shared that verse, and I knew what I was doing next. So now I challenge you to go out and to just sit at a park, sit at Starbucks, sit somewhere where you can find complete solitude and just write your story so that you can share it and your story can make a significant impact on the lives of others because you matter and so does your story. So speak up and empower those around you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so excited to read all of your stories and to communicate with you all and just to hear from where you're coming from and how I can help you, how Fearless Movement can help you. All right, well, that's all for now, so thanks for watching. Bye.